Good morning, everyone, and it's my pleasure to welcome you to our third Social Work and Social Care Research Conference. And as Ruth says, judging by the attendance here today, we're absolutely delighted that we're getting such traction in this particular area of our work. The conference is being co-hosted, as you know, with the R&D division of the Public Health Agency. And I'm very grateful to the Public Health Agency for all their support to us as we've been developing our research strategy. And I want to take the opportunity to thank two people in particular. My personal thanks to Ruth, who has been extremely supportive, and to Anne McGlade, who's been leading the charge in relation to this work. So this conference is now firmly included in our annual programme of events and builds on the successes, as you've heard, of the two previous conferences in 2014 and 2015. I'm also pleased that we've got Dr. Professor Ian Young, just demoted him, Professor Ian Young on, who is due to speak after me. I understand he's flying in and flying out, so if he's a bit delayed, I may have to stretch my words a little bit, but we're absolutely, oh, he's here. Can I stop now then, Ian? Is that... I hope that we have an enjoyable conference, and I'm going to talk about some of the fun aspects in a minute. And I'd like to think it's informal as well, so we don't have to stand on ceremony. I think everybody in the room knows each other, and we're absolutely delighted with the speakers that we have for you today. I know that the R&D strategy for health and social care research and development was launched earlier this month, and I'm sure Ian will make reference to that. But we in social work and social care look forward to ongoing engagement in any future work and or developments in taking that strategy forward, as well as our own particular research and continuous improvement strategy. So by the size of the audience in attendance here today and by the interest expressed by others in attending, we are confident that there are growing demands for opportunities for people to come together to discuss research and share learning that better supports continuous improvement. I actually think suddenly I'm getting a cold, and I apologise for my voice. I think those of you who've had the bug in the room are obviously sharing it around. I am confident that everybody in this room is familiar with our recently launched social work and continuous improvement strategy, and that's for the period 2015 to 2020. And you know that we enjoyed a high-profile launch in November, which was hosted by the Office of Social Work with departmental support. And Christine Smith is in the room today, and I'd like to thank her in particular for her ongoing support and enthusiasm and commitment for research and for training. So as we know, strategies are great at setting the vision, and our vision is for the development of a research and evidence-minded culture within social work and social care for Northern Ireland. But, and I think I'm probably repeating myself, I've said it many times before, we are on a journey to achieve this, and at times this will be a challenging journey as we progress our vision. But I believe even more strongly now that we will get there, judging by the level of commitment and engagement already established in this context. Over the last few years, within both our social work strategy and the research strategy, we've put a lot of emphasis on professionalism and the professionalisation of the workforce, including building the capacity of staff, service users and carers to work with us on this journey. Today, I think, offers another opportunity for engagement, another dialogue about research and evidence-related activity. And I'm delighted to have, as I've already said, to have attracted such a range of delegates and the important voice of the service user and carer at our conference today. So we all need to be open to learning, including learning from outside our own sphere of knowledge. I know we have a very full programme ahead of us today with a wide range of informative plenary presentations from which hopefully we can all learn something new and interesting. So I was also looking at the conference pack and was intrigued to see that the organisers are attempting to make us all listen very attentively, but with a little bit of fun inserted into the proceedings. And that's in the form of conference bingo. And you all have this white sheet in your pack. You need to get it out now, because actually I might be saying something that you need to be ticking off on your bingo sheet. We all have to do is to listen very carefully to the presentations, and then when we hear the words that are on your bingo sheet, just circle the word accordingly. And there's no point watching what your neighbour does, because they're all different. Anne is very devious. When your sheet is full, I'm going to ask you to resist an overwhelming urge to shout bingo, or house, as they say in Yorkshire, where I come from, but rather present your sheet during the break to Liz or Michael. You will have met them already in reception, sitting at the desk, and there will be a prize, a small prize. I suspect it's a pen, but don't worry about that. A small prize for the first 5 cards full. Okay? Our speakers have all devoted time to preparing their presentations and to being here today to deliver and to share their knowledge and learning. So the bingo is really just a bit of fun. The main thing is to listen very, very carefully to what they're saying and to learn from the presentations. I've already mentioned capacity building, and there are numerous initiatives underway to do this in the context of research and evidence, including, for example, the doctorate in childcare studies at Queen's University and the research programme at Ulster University, to name but 2. And Brian Taylor from UU will tell us a bit more about the research programme recently launched last September. I think some participants here today are already involved in that course, but I do hope and trust that there are many others who would like to get involved. Rather than social workers having to always come up with their own topic for a literature review and possibly research activity, we may have some suggestions for next year's intake. As one of the outcomes of the Research and Continuous Improvement Strategy, there are a number of regional priorities that have already posed questions to which we need answers. So if you are a social worker in the audience and as part of your development are considering the evidence-informed module, why not have a chat today with Anne McGlade or David Bickerstaff, and they can help you think through the next steps. I think you already know Anne there, and David, who's lurking at the back over there, if you want to have a word with them. But capacity building is not all about training in research, it's much, much wider. Hence, within our conference theme, Bridging the Gap, Research and Practice, we were very keen to open up opportunities for social workers and researchers across practice in the statutory, voluntary and academic sectors to share some of the outcomes from their research, evaluation and service development activity. And to facilitate this, we adopted a call for abstracts. And this was the first time we've done this, and we're absolutely delighted at the number that came forward and the quality of the abstracts that we received. And I, for one, am really looking forward to hearing some of those presentations this afternoon in the parallel sessions. I'd like to thank our panel that included external reviewers with research, service user and carer expertise who had the task of scrutinising the applications. I said in my introduction that today is an opportunity to come together to discuss and share our learning in relation to research and evidence as it applies to social work and social care, and to learn from others, including from other disciplines. Conferences are a valuable and valued opportunity for staff and service users to do just that. But we are also very aware that events, no matter how creative or imaginative, or indeed how well attended, can only reach a certain size of audience. Getting as many colleagues involved as is possible in the dialogue about the contribution of research and evidence is important. So no better time than to start right now. So for all of you tweeters in the audience, don't forget our hashtag for Twitter. I think it's going to pop up on the screen, and get your tweets going. Oh, Anne says it's in your pack. So if you have a look and get the information out there. To ensure that the messages from today's event reach a wider audience, you will already gathered, as Ruth said, that we are videoing. I had asked for, what did I call it, streaming. I thought it would be a good idea to stream the conference to various locations across Northern Ireland. I have no idea how you would do that, but I'm good at coming up with the ideas. I was told that that was not a good idea and probably very difficult to achieve, but actually to have the conference recorded and available, we'll be able to use snippets of it, we'll be able to incorporate it into podcasts, and we'll be able to put it on websites so a wide audience can access the presentations and the information after the conference. So I think it's a good thing, and I think it's the way to go. Okay, to keep things interesting, there are a number of other things going on today, and I think Anne and Ruth are going to remind you of these at various intervals. Hopefully you've seen the slideshow on innovations in the foyer. There's also another opportunity to view the posters from the Social Work Innovation Scheme. These are really, really spectacular, and I'd encourage you to spend some time having a look at those. And NISC are also hosting a session at lunchtime in meeting room 3, so please check that out in your pack to see the flyer for further details. So don't think that you're just going to have a nice, relaxing lunch. You're not. There's still lots of learning as the day progresses. Okay, and in social work and research, as in everyday life, we strive for shared meaning. Some of my directorate staff have been collecting commonly used expressions, which may not always mean what they initially appear to mean. And what people hear and understand may not be what we think or intend. So from our first coffee break in the foyer, there are some lists of what they said and some translations or suggestions of what they actually meant. And you have a chance to vote. So just place a star on the meaning you think best reflects what the speaker actually meant. Anne doesn't tell me there's a prize for the best one, so I think it's just a wee bit of fun. Okay, and then finally, just something from a personal perspective. I know in Northern Ireland we tend to avoid politics, but on this occasion I'm going to break my own rule and look at politics across the Atlantic. And I use this example in a weekly blog that I do to all of my staff, but reflecting on the media coverage of Donald Trump and the growing momentum for his selection as the Republican candidate, I was really disturbed in a country as described by its founding fathers and restated by Abraham Lincoln as dedicated to the proposition that all men are created equal, to find that somebody who publicly mocks and mimics a person with a disability can seriously be a contender for the White House. I think that's something that has struck me so significantly in the past month that I just wanted to share my reflection on that with you. And so it's your turn. And before we start the event, what I want you to do is just turn to the person beside you and introduce yourself. And maybe you want to share with your neighbour something that you heard or read in the media over the last week or two that annoyed you, amused you, intrigued you, fascinated you, or that you found downright absurd. Pop them on a piece of paper and leave on your table. You can add your name if you want. I would encourage you to do that because guess what? There is a prize if yours is read out at the end of the conference. Thank you very much. Sit back and enjoy the conference.